Now that we've logged some data with our logger, we're going to connect again. Again, Bluetooth Low Energy does not support streaming data live, so you can't leave your connection open indefinitely. If we had left our connection open, we would get a message that says we're going to close the connection and give you a countdown. It'll ask you if you want to stay connected. So it's really not designed to be connected full time or even over long periods of time. Just enough time to configure the logger, launch it, offload data, get status, things like that. But it's not really designed to be connected all the time over the air. So let's connect to this again, and we're going to read out our data. Again, there's not much in there. We haven't been logging very long, but we can look at some historical data as well. So here's where we would select readout. I'm going to tap on readout, and again, read out the data. And again, it says we're successful, so we click on OK, and we can see down at the bottom of the screen we have a little red 1 next to data files, which means we have a new data file available. So if we click on data files, it'll ask us to close the connection. Again, this isn't Bluetooth Low Energy is not meant to be connected full time or even for long periods of time, so we're going to have to say yes. Okay, and there's all of our data files. The top one is the latest. I'm going to click on the one below that, a little more interesting. So there's my mini graph. If I turn my iPad, we can see it a little easier, I think. There we go. So there's my graph. If I click on the 3 lines up here in the right-hand corner, and we can see here's my sensors. They were turned on, and this is what's plotted. This is where I can select if I want to see dew point. Dew point's calculated by the app, so we can click on that. And again, these are my internal events, just like HOBO with their UX products. It keeps track of internal events, like when we calibrated the device, when manual calibration happened. So we can click on to show those, because I did do a manual calibration during this deployment. We can also select to show when the calibration button was pushed, if the USB host was connected, and when the end of file marker was written. Now you can see the CO2 value axis over there on the left. So what I'm going to do is stick my finger on there and just slide it over, or just click on it, actually tap on it, and there's my updated graph that includes dew point. What you see here, that little statistical icon, is when our calibration was done. If we click on the I, we'll get some information about the configuration and the device identification. So again, the model number, serial number, firmware version. If we click on the little right arrow under logger configuration, it takes us to the how the device was configured in our configuration window. So if we wanted to review that, click on done, back to our mini graph, and then here is your typical, this is the share configuration. So this is how you share your data, and you select what format. So Excel spreadsheet, comma separated values, a plain .txt file, or in our HOBOware format, so you can open it in our HOBOware software, or you can just get an image of the graph, save it as an image file, and we're going to share this file in HOBOware format via email, and we'll show you what that looks like in HOBOware. So we use the Hobo mobile app to share this data file in HOBOware format. We emailed it to our email account, and then using our email client, we unattach that email attachment, that data file, and now we're going to open it in HOBOware. This is the free version of HOBOware. It will work in HOBOware the free version or the pro version. So this is our plot setup screen. Should look familiar to us these days. There's our description we put in when we launch the logger with the mobile app. We can select the display dew point, our temp RH CO2 data. Here are our internal events. We're going to select manual calibration. I did do a manual calibration during this deployment, so I'll check that off so we can see how that's noted in the data file. And again, we have the ability to put in an offset from GMT, or what is called UCT time, just like any other logger from Onset. The logger gets its date and time from the device that it's being launched from, be it a computer, a smartphone running the HOBO mobile app, or a tablet, or a shuttle device. So all we're doing when we're selecting an offset from GMT is we're selecting to offset the time reference for the plot for display on the screen. It doesn't affect the original data file. Click plot. There is our data. Again, it's a fairly short deployment. So our tabular data here, our 5-minute data. You see here's our XY plot with our temperature, our CO2 concentrations, and our relative humidity in percent. You notice over here under the manual calibration series, we have a manual calibration value that was recorded. That's what it's using to determine its offset to do its calibration. Again, we did that using the crosshairs tool. If we click right on that, this is the internal event right here. Takes us right to that point. It was 10:06 a.m. this morning is when we did that. And again, this is the manual calibration. Automatic calibration happens 24 hours after launch if a manual calibration doesn't happen before then, and then every 8 days after that.